We're here today, as you know, to celebrate J. Stephen Resnick upon his induction into the Order of the Longleaf Pine, and also to thank him for his selfless and exemplary service to the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, and to the state of North Carolina, and of course, to all of us. You'll find the order of our service as well as Steve's biography in our program, and as you'll see, Steve is a Tar Heel both by birth and by degree. And as you'll also see, both the bio and the program are very brief. The brevity itself is a tribute to Steve. If you've ever been in a meeting on this campus or anywhere else that Steve has moderated, you know that he is one of the few people at UNC who always gets you out on time. And so it is our intent today to get you out on time, Steve, in your honor, sir. But before we recognize and thank Steve, please just give me a moment to recognize and thank you. Thank you, colleagues, for being here, and thank you for serving as Steve's partners in teaching and scholarship and leadership and service. And thank you to all of Steve's friends. Thanks to you for being here. And thank you for responding constructively over the years to the detailed mental to-do lists that Steve has brought to every conversation he's ever had with you. And thank you to Steve's family. Thank you for lending to all of the rest of us this extraordinary man whom you know as your son, your brother, your husband, or father, or as of tomorrow, your father-in-law. And thank you also, Dean Jim Laludis and Honors Carolina, for allowing us to use this beautiful and storied space. In fact, the perfect place to recognize and celebrate Steve. As all of you may know, this building, Graham Memorial, is named for Edward Kidder Graham, who served as president of the University of North Carolina from 1914 to 1918. President Graham is probably best remembered for his efforts to connect what we learn and teach and discover on this campus to the needs of our brothers and sisters far beyond. And so it is right that we are gathered here in this place today to honor a person who embodies this ideal. And now I hope you'll join me in welcoming Dean Karen Gill, the College of Arts and Sciences.
Steve's family, and everyone. It's so wonderful to see so many of you here today. Thank you very much for being here to help us celebrate a very close colleague and friend of mine, Steve Reznick. I have known Steve since he first came to Carolina in 1998 and joined the psychology department, now the Department of Psychology and Neuroscience. As many of you know, that is my home department, and I am about to return to psychology and neuroscience at the start of next semester. But I have known Steve for a very long time, and you will hear about many of Steve's contributions to the university, to North Carolina, to the community. I am going to focus some of my comments on all he has done within psychology and the College of Arts and Sciences. When Steve first came to Carolina and rejoined us here at Carolina and came to the psychology department as a faculty member, he quickly emerged as a leader. He was very active in recruiting junior faculty to the department and graduate students and mentoring them. He sat on the senior leadership team for the department and helped determine its direction. In his research, Steve devoted his career to topics such as infant cognitive development, infant memory, autism. His work has had real-world impact. Just last month, he received the Cognitive Development Society's Lifetime Achievement Award for advancing our understanding of the field. As just one example of his many research accomplishments, He and several of his colleagues helped develop a well-recognized tool known as the First Year Inventory. It is designed to identify infants who will eventually receive a diagnosis of autism. Outside of psychology in the College of Arts and Sciences, Steve was the Associate Dean for first-year seminars and academic experiences in the College of Arts and Sciences from 2007 to 2013. I see people over in this section nodding their heads, so I know they worked closely with you, Steve, when you were in that role. You helped to expand the first-year seminar program, helped recruit faculty to teach in that program, helped really enrich the offerings within the first-year seminar program. And I know Steve also collaborated with other leaders across campus on the first-year experience. Many of you know that Carolina is recognized by U.S. News and World Report for its outstanding first-year experience. I think many of you also know that Steve is the president, has been the president for a long time, of the UNC Farm. Many of you have spent a lot of times there with your families. I have myself, my children and I have spent a lot of time at the farm. Steve has done a lot to really enhance the program offerings, and I know that he was really the driving force behind the new building there. So for those of us who like to meet with colleagues and enjoy our time, we have Steve to thank for all he has done to advance the work at the farm. Steve, you've been a great colleague and friend, and it's been a pleasure to work with you, and it is an enormous pleasure to be a part of this celebration for you today. Now I'd like to introduce the incoming Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences, Kevin Kuskowitz.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here today to talk about a great friend and colleague who's very deserving of this wonderful honor. Steve, as I thought about what I wanted to say today, I want to talk about three attributes that I most admire about you and that I know represent what you are most passionate about. The first of those is this love that you have for the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. Whether it's mentoring your undergraduate or graduate students, many of which have gone on and will continue to go on to really portray your legacy in the area of developmental psychology. You certainly will have a legacy here. The Faculty Athletics Committee, for many years, the role that you played in ensuring that our student athletes here at Carolina had great opportunities to be contributing members of our community here. First-year seminars that Dean Gill has already mentioned. Many of our students benefit from the early work around first-year seminars. We're continuing to talk about first-year seminars that were some of your ideas from 4 or 5 years ago. And as Karen has already said, Carolina leads in this area, again, representing just a few of the ways in which you have contributed and will continue to love the University of North Carolina. Secondly, the second attribute that I want to talk about, how you have chosen to live with ALS. I think you've been very open about this. It was only weeks after your diagnosis that you reached out to me, came over to my research laboratory, and began to approach this not as a patient, but as a scientist. We dug through a database of over 3,000 former athletes to try to better understand whether there were linkages to ALS and repetitive head trauma that you had a great interest in trying to better understand. The ice bucket challenges. I think we may have set a record on our campus in honor of Steve with the highest number of ice bucket challenges in a given year, including Chancellor Folt, who I know participated, and raised a lot of money for ALS. The lecture that you and Donna gave recently for the program in humanities, what an amazing title, and I'll quote, "How Illness Changes Our Lives and How the Humanities Change Our Illness." I mean, amazing, and I hope that many of you had the opportunity to see that, and if not, I'm sure that we can call you up to do it again. You were not on the clock today. You could come up, and you're both here. And I just want to say one more thing about you know, the way Steve, his love for the university combined with the way in which he has chosen to live with ALS. But when he decided to step down from the faculty, he was concerned about how he would be replaced on this faculty, and he wanted to take part in that, as he has. And we currently have a faculty line that's open, and we're searching. In fact, I met with one of those candidates just yesterday. And so, again, caring about, you know, beyond himself, but really to be sure that the universities and, you know, will continue to thrive in this area that we have led in. And then third, this third attribute is that I admire most, and it's one that I think is probably the most important, and that is your love and passion for your family that surrounds you today. There's nothing more important. It's been rare that I've sat with you as we've had coffee, lunch, dinner together over the past year and a half where you haven't mentioned and talked about your family and how proud you are of your family. And I think you know, as witness to this today, your family extends far beyond the folks sitting immediately on your left and right here, but it extends much beyond that. So thank you for all that you do. Thank you for all that I know you will continue to do for us, and congratulations on this much-deserved honor. Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce Daniel Gitterman. Dr. Gitterman, as most of you know, is the chair of our Department of Public Policy, and I know played a big role in making this all happen today. So it's my honor to welcome Dan.
Steve, you have a lot of friends, and I might need to borrow some of you. It's an honor to have submitted the nomination to the governor and to nominate again today J. Stephen Resnick for induction into the Order of the Longleaf Pine. As the Chancellor will explain in a minute, this recognition is to inspire and encourage acts of kindness, charity, and service to others by recognizing North Carolinians who have demonstrated exemplary service or made an exceptional contribution to the state and their communities. And every longleaf pine needs roots to nourish them, and Steve has got some of his roots with him here today. His wife, Donna Kay, his dad, Joe Reznick, his daughter, Leah Kagan Reznick, as you know, his future son-in-law, if you make it through the next 24 hours. John Tyner, by the way, there's no turning back after the rehearsal dinner. You're done, guy. Stepson, Aaron Kay, where are you, Aaron? And sisters Celia Brown and Barbara Bernstein. Just a few years ago, my friend and colleague Steve was here in this very place as UNC President Tom Ross inducted me into the Order of the Longleaf Pine. It's now time for me to pay it forward and help honor Steve's extraordinary acts of kindness, charity, and service to others. I first met Steve in his role as Associate Director of First-Year Seminars when, thankfully, he funded my first-year seminar proposal on public entrepreneurship. Thank you, Steve. He immediately recognized the value of a seminar that aims to foster ideas to maximize the public good and not just maximize for private gain. With no offense to the current or future holders of the first-year seminar associate dean, he will be the finest first-year associate dean that we will ever have. Later, I had the good fortune of having Steve in my 2008-2009 cohort in the Academic Leadership Program, sponsored by the Institute for Arts and Humanities, which aims to support current and emerging academic leaders. For those of you who've been part of the program, you know that each and every ALP meeting and our informal gatherings afterwards, which of course Steve has organized, begins with a, quote, check-in, giving members a chance to learn things about each other as people and professionals and to build respect for each other's challenges and sometimes accomplishments. It allows members to shift their attention away from the pressures of other responsibilities particularly hard for me, and became more fully present in the group. The psychologists in the room today will realize that Steve was in his element at check-in. Attentively and therapeutically listening to each person, ensuring that each member had a chance to check in, and always offering a reaffirming and thoughtful comment. Steve, you make each of us feel better about ourselves. Over the years, I've come to realize there are different types of leaders, even different types of academic leaders. Those that will lead large organizations like Carolina, that's you, and those that lead by wonderful example, one group of students at a time, one group of colleagues at a time, one group of administrators at a time. Steve knows how to bring people together, how to work for a common purpose. That's his Carolina way. When Steve asks, "How are you doing?" he actually really expects an answer. And if you don't answer or answer with the usual, "Fine, okay," he will ask a follow-up question. And then you realize, after 3 more follow-up questions to the "How are you doing?" that this guy really cares in his head and in his heart. And now, confronting an unexpected diagnosis, he leads us again. This professor has transformed adversity into efforts to raise awareness, to create new knowledge, and to educate us all. And when we should be lifting his spirit, he's actually lifting ours, living, loving, and leading by true example. There's a cartoon I found this week. It's Charlie Brown. And Charlie Brown is sitting with Snoopy on a lake. And he says to Snoopy, quote, "Sometimes the most ordinary things could be made extraordinary simply by doing them with the right people." Close quote. Chancellor, it is time for J. Stephen Resnick's induction into the Order of the Longleaf Pine.
Thank you, Dan and Karen, Kevin, Steve, honored guests, Steve, family members, friends. It is my privilege to be here as part of this ceremony. As you know, the highest honor that can be offered by the governor for service in the state of North Carolina is the Order of the Longleaf Pine. Since it was created in 1963, this recognition is only given out sparingly, and it is only given out to honor individuals who have proven records of service to the state of North Carolina and have also done other special achievements, such as gestures of friendship and goodwill. And I do love the words I'm going to repeat that Dan read to you, but what it is actually meant to be, because I think this is actually very special North Carolina flavor to this. It is, quote, "to inspire and encourage acts of kindness, charity, and service to others by recognizing North Carolinians who've demonstrated this exemplary service or made exceptional contributions to the state or their communities." Along with your family and friends and so many people, we're here and very proud to induct Dr. Stephen Resnick to this elite group. So could I ask you to join me here? When I think about the purpose of this award, and I've been listening to the comments of my colleagues, I think we can all agree we can think of few other individuals who so clearly deserve this honor. Not long after I came to Carolina, I began to hear stories about Steve, and they were all good. They were actually quite remarkable in their variety, because when you first come, people start telling you, these are people you should meet. These are people that make a big difference here. And so they were all different in their variety, but some people focused on your amazing commitment to students, your teaching, your mentorship. That was something I heard about from so many people. Others, of course, talked about your research, its variety, the depth, part of one of the major research groups here at North Carolina. Others talked about your incredible generosity and good cheer. And then some also focused on your conviction that you and not Coach Williams should be knowing when to call the next time out. I did hear that too. But every single one of these amazing stories also had a very deep, constant theme, and that was about you, the person, the respect and the admiration, and indeed the love that so many people felt for you. And I don't think there's any reason to wonder why. Not only have you had exemplary service to the university and to the state, and indeed the nation and the world, with your contributions to the fields of developmental psychology, you've also inspired and encouraged everyone with your courage and your positivity and your humor in facing the biggest challenge of all, ALS. Very close after I came here, within my first year, I arranged to have a meeting to come meet Steve. And I went to his office, and I might not have these in exact order, but I'm pretty sure I learned what the mental checklist was. But he told me first about the amazing psychology department, and he talked about everybody else but himself and how much he loved that department, and I'd forgotten that, but that he'd also been in that department since he was a student and how important that was. He then talked to me about autism and how important our research team here, what they were actually doing. And he talked to me about athletics. We had a very good conversation of that. It wasn't until the end that we talked about ALS. But again, it was about what it meant, how to research it. And I think, like Dan said, at the end of it, I came away, if anything, feeling comforted and incredibly inspired, not only about how to help make this great university better, but how to be a truly wonderful human being. So it was quite special. So it is now my amazing honor, on behalf of thousands of people who have benefited from your work and your teaching and inspired by the way you lead your life and face this disease and are just proud to call you colleague, friend, and family member. We want to say thank you. Now I'm going to do the formal induction into the Order of the Longleaf Pine. And I have a certificate that is given by the governor that confers upon you, quote, the rank of Ambassador Extraordinary, privileged to enjoy fully all rights granted to members of this exalted order, among which is the special privilege to propose the following North Carolina toast in select company anywhere in the free world. I had to get special permission from the governor to be able to present this toast in my words, because I am not a member of the Longleaf Pine. So I will make this toast on behalf of the governor. Here's to the land of the longleaf pine, the summer land where the sun does shine, where the weak grow strong and the strong grow great. Here's to the down home, Old North State. Congratulations, Dr. Steve. Congratulations.
Okay, thank you very much. My turn. Yeah. Okay. First of all, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I greatly appreciate the work that they have done to create this event for me. And looking out, my family, it's wonderful to see so many of you here. And Mom, nicely done with the weather. Thank you. We are glad that this is moving so well. And looking out across this room and just seeing so many familiar faces, this is an amazing experience. And I would highly recommend it to you if you get a chance to have something like this. I'm seeing chancellors, athletic directors, deans, faculty, friends, administrators that have helped us do what we do, and it is a great experience. And I also see a lot of my students here, and I will take this as good evidence that the statement you have heard me make might be true. It ain't what you know, and it ain't who you know, it's who knows you and what they think of you. And this says that there's something about that. And to maintain that, I'm seeing so many people here I've worked with in various projects. And my current situation, disability leave, and unless they find a cure for ALS, retiring in June. But I remain interested and committed to all of those projects that we have worked on together. And I would like to remain involved in those. It's not easy to be physically present at a meeting, but I'm glad to call in, or you can send me a document and I'll add some crazy creative ideas and fix that versus which and other things. And also in my new configuration, I've got plenty of opportunities for you to come visit me at my home for lunch or beer or something. So we can keep working together, and I hope that we will do that. Okay, now that I have been put in a position where I am eligible to deliver the toast of the longleaf pine, I looked at the original version, and historical documents are important, right, Lord? Yeah. But there is room for improvement. And reading the toast and trying to understand some of the words, I decided that I would create my own version. My version has the original format and many of the original words, but also reflects my experience growing up and being in North Carolina, and also my awareness of some of the room we might have for improvement in our state. So here is Steve Resnick's version of the toast of the longleaf pine. Here's to the land of the longleaf pine, our summer land where the sun doth shine, where the weak grow strong and the strong grow great. Here's to down home, the old North State. Here's to the land where cotton blooms, forsythia glows and wisteria booms, where bumblebees and azaleas mate beneath the pines of the old North State. Here's to the land where Mount Mitchell summits, where Pilot Mountain flies and Hanging Rock plummets. Assuming we can make climate change abate, we'll always have a land of sky in the old North State. Here's to the land where eagles fly, where cardinals sing and cicada cry. Deer are always trying to enter our gate, and dogs love walking through the old North State. Here's to the land where students should learn, where schools should prosper, and teachers should earn. Democracy needs us to participate. Let's encourage all to vote in the old North State. Here's to the land where we try to be fair, where friends are true and cold hearts rare, the near land, the dear land, whatever fate, the blessed land, the best land, the old North State.
Carol, will you hold it for him?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, and also a hand for Donna, my wife. Is that fun?
We've heard a couple of toasts. We have more food to eat. Everyone here needs to hug, kiss, and Steve kiss, and most important, give Steve a hard time. But before we do any of that, and John and Leah will have a chance to do this to you tomorrow, would you please join me in toasting the father of the bride? To the father of the bride. Thank you.
I'm Joe Resnick,
Oh,
Steve's father.
okay. So you must be very proud of him.
I am.
Any special words you want to say?
No, except I'm glad to be here and looking.
Okay, is this for Steve? This would be for my brother Steve, who is the proud recipient of the Order of the Longleaf Pine, which I am sure he greatly deserves because of his unbelievable service to the state. And if we had a family Order of the Longleaf Pine, he'd get that too for his wonderful service as a brother and a father and a son and a nephew and a cousin. We're all happy to be here.
And it's going to be very interesting when this room is filled with 150 faces I recognize.